The Adventures of Tom Sawyer by Mark Twain. Longman Simplified English Series. Read by พิชิชัย นพเก้า Chapter 18. How could you be so novel? There was something about Aunt Polly's manners when she kissed Tom, then swept away his feeling of depression. He set off for school and had the luck to meet Becky Thatcher. When he was happy, he could never be angry with anyone, and so he said, "Becky, I behaved very badly today, and I'm sorry, let us be friends." The girl stopped and looked him scornfully in the face. "Please don't speak to me, Mr. Tom Sawyer." She held up her head proudly and passed on. Tom was turned. He presently saw her in the schoolyard and made a stinging remark. She fired one in return and could hardly wait for school to begin. So impatient was she to see Tom punished for the damaged spelling book. Poor girl, she did not know that she would soon be in trouble herself. The teacher, Mr. Dobbins, had reached middle age with an unsatisfied ambition. The goal of his desires was to be a doctor, but fate had arranged that he should be nothing higher than a village schoolmaster. Every day he took a mysterious book out of his desk and studied it at times. Every pupil in the school was longing to have a look at it, but the change never came. Now, as Becky was passing by the desk, which stood near the door, she noticed that the key was in the lock. It was a precious moment. She glanced round, found herself alone, and the next instant she had the book in her hands. She knew that it was Professor somebody's Health and Disease, and began to turn the pages. At that moment, a shadow fell on the page, and Tom Sawyer stepped in the door. Becky snatched at the book to close it and had the misfortune to tear a page. She thrust the book into the desk, turned the key, and burst out crying with shame and annoyance. "Tom Sawyer, how could you be hurt, creeping up to see what one's looking at? How could I know that you were looking at anything? You ought to be ashamed of yourself. I know that you're going to tell the teacher about me, and oh, what shall I do? I'll be punished, and I have never been punished in school." And she rushed out of the classroom in the storm of tears. In a few moments, the teacher arrived and lesson began. Soon, the spelling book discovery was made. Becky thought for a moment of telling about a phrase of Red's temple, but she forced herself to keep quiet because she said to herself, "He'll tell about me tearing the book. I wouldn't say a word, not even to save his life." Tom took his punishment and went back to his seat, not at all broken-hearted. From he thought that he might have upset the ink on the spelling book himself. A whole hour passed by. Then Mr. Dobbins unlocked his desk and reached for his book, but seemed undecided whether to take it out or leave it. Most of the pupils glanced up idly, but there were two who watched his movements closely. Mr. Dobbins fingered his book thoughtfully for a time, then took it out and settled himself in his chair to read. Tom glanced at Becky. The anxious expression on her face made him forget his quarrel with her. Quick! Something must be done. He would run and snatch the book, spring through the door and fly. But he hesitated. His chance was lost. The teacher had opened the book. The next moment he faced the school. His stern gaze made ever the innocent tremble. There was a silence while one might curtain. Then he spoke. "Who tore this book?" There was not a sound. One could have heard a pin drop. The teacher searched face after face for signs of God. "Benjamin Rogers, did you tear this book?" A denial. Another pause. "Joseph Harper, did you?" Another denial. Tom's uneasiness grew as the teacher examined the rows of boys, considered for a moment, and then turned to the girls. "Amy Lawrence?" A shake of the head. "Gracie Miller?" The same sigh. "Susan Harper, did you do this?" Another negative. The next girl was Becky Thatcher. Tom was trembling from head to foot with excitement and a sense of a hopelessness of the situation. Rebecca Thatcher. Tom glanced at her face. It was white with terror. "Did you tear?" "No." "Look me in the face. Did you tear this book?" A thought shot like lightning through Tom's brain. He sprang to his feet and shouted, "I did it." The pupils stared, astounded at Tom's foolishness. When he stepped forward to his punishment, the surprise, the gratitude, the worship that shone upon his out of Becky's eye seemed reward enough for 100 whippings. He took without a murmur the most severe punishment that even Mr. Robbins had ever given. Tom went to bed that night planning revenge against Alfred Temple, for Becky has told him all. But even the longing for revenge had to give way soon to pleasanter thoughts, and he fell asleep at last with Becky's words still in his ear. Tom, how could you be so noble?